Hey, what's up, y'all? Chris Abbott here. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how to use ministry-based marketing to grow your church in 2023. Now, this is kind of my updated new strategy. So let's dive in. Now, the first thing that I would do is Facebook prayer ads. And these are pretty easy. Basically, what you want to do is you just want to run a Facebook ad to everyone within driving distance of your church. And you want to ask them, how can I pray for you? All right. So when I first started doing this at my church, we actually had 549 prayer requests and 86 new families that plan to visit our church in the first 33 days. And now the reason this works is because this isn't marketing, this is ministry. So we weren't inviting these people to church or trying to get butts in seats or trying to get new visitors. The goal of this entire campaign is simply ministry, right? We're trying to reach out to community, connect with people, and then the people that want prayer come to you, right? And then typically the overflow of that is that some of those people want to come to church to get prayed for in person on Sunday morning, right? So that's the idea behind these Facebook prayer ads. And I've got a lot of videos on these, so you guys can check out some of those other videos. We'll link them up down in the description below as well, in case you want to go into a little bit more detail. Now, basically what you want to do is you want to set up a Facebook ad, not a boosted post, right? Now, the difference between that is if you go post something on Facebook, right? You make an actual post on your Facebook page, and then Facebook says, hey, this post is performing better than 83% of all of your other posts. Why not put $20 behind it, show it to more people, okay? That is a Facebook boost. Nothing wrong with a boosted post, but that is not a Facebook ad. The way that you set up a targeted Facebook ad is by going to facebook.com/ads manager, all one word, and you're going to set up a targeted Facebook ad. Now, the way that I usually do this at my church, the way I recommend that other churches do it, is by targeting everyone within driving distance of your church. And this is different for every single person, right? Every church is different. Every city and town is different, obviously. But each town has something that's about driving distance. What I would recommend is make sure that you're not keeping that too close to your church, right? So I'll talk to some churches before and they'll be like, oh yeah, we want to target everyone within 2 miles of our church. And that's great. But unless you live in like the Bronx or downtown Manhattan or something like that, right? 2 miles just isn't big enough for you to actually reach a decent amount of people, right? So for example, I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's where my church is. And typically driving distance for us is about 15 miles, right? Anything more than 15 miles and people will just find a church closer to home. But here in Tulsa, people have no problem driving 10 to 15 miles to get to church. And now lately, I've been seeing that on my ads, video actually works a lot better than pictures and definitely better than graphics, right? Graphics never perform well. Graphics look like marketing because they are. So you don't want to do a graphic. You definitely want to do a picture or a video. And like I said, for me lately, I've been seeing video working better than anything else out there. Now, the way that I like to do it is I like to do a selfie video. So what I do is actually just take my phone, right? And I'm holding it vertically, right? Out in front of me. And here's what I normally recommend. This just seems to kind of be the most flattering angle and the most interesting angle. You're basically just going to hold the video out in front of you, right? Hold it yourself. Don't have somebody else hold it for you. Do not get don't stand in front of a wall. The best thing is to walk around holding the selfie video. Best way, extend it out like this, right? Raise it up a little bit just so it's kind of coming down angle. And then if you just kind of slightly turn your body, right? So pretty simple, a selfie video. And if you're walking around outside, it just tends to be more interesting. People are kind of looking at the background stuff and it's going to grab people's attention more. It's going to stop the scroll and it's going to keep them looking more. While you're talking, not only walk, but also just kind of move a little bit, right? Like if you're kind of like moving like this, what happens is the background, they keep seeing different parts of the background, right? Maybe it's your house back there. Maybe it's your church in the background, right? But people are kind of looking behind like, oh, wait, is that Main Street? Or, oh man, where's that church at, right? They're just kind of looking and it feels a little bit more interesting and get me a lot more prayer requests just because people are noticing it, they're stopping and watching it, right? So something to keep in mind. Okay, so before I get to my next point, I actually have a free gift for you. Ryan and I put together our top 10 most popular church growth resources. We actually put them all into one place and you can actually download that for free. Just go to churchmarketinguniversity.com/free. Head over there, you can get access to that. It's our top 10 most popular church growth resources. Okay, next up, I would set the budget on that prayer ad to probably $30 a day. All right, so churches ask me all the time, hey, Abbott, how much do Facebook ads cost, right? The great news is they actually don't cost anything. You get to set the budget. So there's no set cost, right? It's not like you have to go pay $5,000 in order to run a Facebook ad. Facebook gives you the opportunity to say how much you want to spend. So anywhere from $5 to $10 a day, all the way up to like $100 a day. Now, what I recommend, again, every church is different. Every budget's different. I totally get that, right? You may have to start small and work your way up to that. No problem. I had to do the same thing at my church, right? When I first started running Facebook ads, we didn't have a lot of money. So I had to start with a really, really small budget budget, but then I worked my way up to eventually I'll spend a couple $1,000s a month. But it was because I saw what was working. I saw how effective it was. I saw how much ministry was taking place and how many people we were reaching. And I was able to, incrementally increase my budget until I got up there. So start where you're at. Don't worry if it's a small budget, totally fine. The most important thing is just to punch fear in the face and actually start. Okay, so the type of ad that you want to run is going to be a traffic ad, and you want to specifically pick the destination as Facebook Messenger, right? So Facebook will give you a couple of different options where you can run it either to like your website or WhatsApp or Messenger, a couple of different things. So you want it to go into Messenger, which means we're going to keep them on Facebook. They're never going to go to your website, which is awesome. All right, we're going to keep them on Facebook. They're going to click on your ad. They're going to go into Facebook Messenger. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is build a chat bot. Now, my personal favorite way to do this is with ManyChat, ManyChat.com. ManyChat has a free version and a paid version. I personally think the paid version is worth it. It's like $15 a month, but you get a bunch of like really, really cool features, and you can kind of track all the people that you're praying for. And then you can even like send out messages to them later. But what ManyChat allows you to do is it allows you to create a chatbot. And this is basically a series of automated sequences that when somebody clicks on your ad and they send you their prayer request, right, it's going to automatically send these automated sequences to follow up. So they would click on your ad, they'd go into Messenger, they'd pour their heart out in a prayer request to you and send it to the page, and then nothing happens. That's why we want to create a chatbot so it can actually collect the prayer request, right, and then thank them for sending the prayer request and create a series of automated sequences. Now, here's the way that I normally do this. I have one that says, hey, thank you so much for trusting me enough to share your prayer request. I promise to pray for you this week. And then I'll have another message say, hey, we're actually having service this Sunday at 10 o'clock. Would you like to come out so that we can pray for you in person? Right. And what I found is that about 10% of people will say yes, they would love to. And then I use the chatbot to actually collect their information. Right. So we already have their name because it's already on Facebook, but collect their email and phone number. Now you can follow up with them offline and actually set up Plan Your Visit. Right. So if you've ever done Plan Your Visit before, this is awesome. It's really, really powerful. But the best part is that we're actually not sending them to your website to plan a visit or anything like that. They're actually doing it through the chatbot simply by saying, yes, I'd love to come out this Sunday so you can pray for me in person. You say, okay, great. What's the best phone number to reach you? Right? What's the best email? Now you have their name, phone number, and email, and you can follow up with them. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is you want to send an audio prayer to every single prayer request that comes in, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use something I call the 3-part conversation elevation framework, right? Here's why. Basically what happens is when someone goes in and they submit a prayer request to you, right? They're trusting you, which is a really, really big deal, right? Maybe they have a surgery coming up. Maybe they have some type of health need, or they're praying for finances. They're praying for a new job, or whatever it is, right? So it's kind of this online anonymous conversation. But when you send an audio prayer using this 3-part conversation elevation framework, what happens is it actually takes that online anonymous conversation and it elevates it to a personal connection. First thing you're going to do is you're going to introduce yourself, right? So an intro. Next thing you're going to do is pray for them, right? And then the last thing is end it with a question. Okay, so intro, prayer, question, right? So let's say John is reaching out and asks, man, what's up, Pastor Chris? Man, I'm just a little bit nervous because, man, my wife, Susie, is having surgery next week. So if you could just pray for her, man, that'd be awesome, right? So boom. Okay, now we're going to, I have his prayer request in there. I'm going to send an audio prayer, right? And I'm just going to go directly into Facebook Messenger. They actually have an option in there where you can send an audio. Here's a little pro tip. If you smile before you start recording an audio, people can actually hear the smile. Sounds crazy, I know, but it really, really works. Okay, so it's going to look something like this, right? I smile, I hit the record button. Hey, John, I got your prayer request. Man, I just wanted to reach out to you so I could pray for you personally. Man, so let's pray. God, I thank you for John. I thank you for his wife, Susie, her upcoming surgery next week. God, I thank you for the doctors and the nurses and the orderlies and everyone that's going to be involved in that surgery, right? Go through your prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. And then you want to end it with a question, right? So, John, I tell you what, we're actually having church this Sunday at 10 o'clock. Can you make it? End of audio. Okay. This is really, really important. Here's why. There's something in neurolinguistic programming called open loops, right? Whenever you ask somebody a question, it opens a loop in their brain. Now, if you keep talking, you'll close that loop, right? But what happens is, think about it. Like if somebody comes up to you and just says, hi, what's your name? You're like you're on the hook to respond. You have to, right? That open loop. Questions do the same thing, right? So you want to end it with, can you make it? Will you be there? Can I save you a seat? And you want to make sure that the last thing that you say is actually a question mark. How effective this really is. And you're going to want to keep doing it for the rest of your life. Trust me, okay? I do this with text messages. I do this with invites. I do this with my birthday invites when I'm inviting people out to my birthday or whatever. I'm like, instead of like, please RSVP or let me know if you can make it, I just say, can you make it? Right? And then people have to respond. Typically what will happen if you do this correctly, if you set up the chat bot correctly, you set up your ad the right way, typically you'll see a bunch of prayer requests come in, and about 10% of those people will say yes to the automated sequences that yes, they want to come out this Sunday so you can pray for them in person. But typically what you can do is you can actually double the amount of visitors that you have by sending this audio prayer and ending it with a question. But the next thing is you want to make sure that you are calling the plan your visits within 15 minutes, right? So every single person who submits a prayer request is going to get an audio prayer. And that one's not really time sensitive as long as you send an audio prayer within 24 hours or so, right? They're not looking for it. They're not expecting it. So when it comes through, it's like a really happy surprise. Like, wow, that was awesome. Like, man, this pastor actually like sent me an audio prayer and he's like praying for me. I can hear his voice. But calling the plan your visits is, right? Somebody goes through and they say, yes, I want to come out to church this Sunday. And they give you like their name, phone number, and email. Now you want to make sure to call them within 15 minutes, because if they do that and then they don't hear anything, they're like, man, did they go to my personal profile? Maybe they can see like my life isn't cleaned up enough to come to their church. Then they start experiencing rejection. And then all of a sudden, right, Sunday rolls around and they're not there. And you're like, what the heck? Man, Abbo, you said this would work. You said people would come out on Sunday. Right? This guy said that he wanted to come. Yeah, but if you don't reach out, connect with them, then they start to experience rejection. They start thinking, oh my gosh, maybe he doesn't want me there. And they don't show up on Sunday, right? So the most important part is just that you have a personal conversation with them in order to make sure that they know there's an actual person on the other side who's waiting for them on Sunday morning. Okay, the next thing you want to do is meet the pastor, right? And the reason is really simple, because 80% of people who meet the pastor on the first visit will come back for a second visit. So it's just really important to make sure that they have a chance to meet you as the pastor, connect with you, right? Hopefully you get a chance to pray for them in person, right? And then just invite them back the following Sunday. All right, next up, I found it is really, really, really effective at getting first-time visitors back in the door for a second, third, or fourth visit if you just send them a simple Monday morning selfie video. Okay, this is one of the simplest things ever. It only takes a couple of minutes, but it is crazy, crazy effective. Okay. All you have to do is take all of your Connect cards from Sunday on Monday morning, right? You're just going to take your phone and you're just going to create a simple vertical up and down selfie video for every single person, but it's going to be personalized. So if you had 5 new visitors on Sunday, you're going to make 5 videos, right? So you look and say, okay, John and Susie, right? Boom. Hey, John, Susie, what's going on, man? This is Pastor Chris. Hey, I just want to thank you so much for coming to church yesterday. Man, I had such a great time getting to know you. Man, little Johnny Jr. and Sally had a great time back in our kids ministry. I know I talked to Pastor Deborah. She had a great time back there. I gave him a bunch of free candy, a bunch of Bible bucks and everything. So, man, we had a great time. And, you know, I just wanted to invite you back, man. We're doing it again next Sunday, right? Same time, same place, 10 o'clock. Can you make it? Boom, end of video, okay? So now think about it. And who wouldn't want to come back to a church that's going the extra mile to do all this personal stuff, right? You connected with them on Facebook. You prayed for them, sent them an audio prayer. You connected with them in person. You prayed for them in person, right? Then you followed up with a personal video so they could see your face using their names, talking about the names of their kids, and then inviting them back to church. Like, you're doing more than every single church in the world right now, right? That's just over the top, and you're creating a personal connection, and we're tapping into the power of a personal invite to get them back in the door. Then you just want to plug them into a 12-week follow-up system. Now, my favorite way to do this is with Text and Church. They have a great follow-up system that you can literally just take all of your Connect cards on Monday after you send that Monday morning selfie video. You can just plug all of your visitors into a follow-up system, and now you have an automated 12-week follow-up system that's literally just going to be sending out a series of emails and text messages to them over the next 3 months to get them back in the door. Really, really effective, and it's pretty awesome. The next thing that I recommend is calling through your entire database once a month. Okay, now remember, this is ministry-based marketing, right? What do we mean by that? Well, we're still inviting people to church. We're still getting the word out. And one of the best ways to do that, right, is through personal phone calls, because we're relying on relationship and a personal invite. So this might take a little bit of time, right? If you have 200, 300, 400, 500 people on your rolls, right? But imagine what could be more important than once a quarter, you taking time as the pastor to call through your entire database, right? Just to ask people how they're doing, right? And make 10 calls a day. You just pick out, boom, first 10 calls, leave voicemails for those people that don't answer. Just call and just ask them how they're doing, right? And ask them how you can pray for them, right? This means the world to people that their pastor would personally call them just to check in on them and just to ask how they could pray for them, right? And then pray for them right there on the phone, right? And then ask them if they're going to be there Sunday, right? This is super, super powerful. And it's a great way to kind of follow up with a lot of the visitors that are starting to come in from all the prayer ads, right? You're going to be able to stay in touch with them over the next couple of weeks and months because once a quarter, you're going to call through your entire database. Okay, so the next video that I recommend you watch is how to grow your church congregation, right? If you like this idea of ministry-based marketing, you want to know a little bit more, you want to go a little bit deeper, man, click on the link in the description below and you can go check out how to grow your church congregation. Man, thank you so much for watching this channel. Please like and subscribe so you get notified whenever we drop new videos. We'll see you soon.